Hey guys, I'm Val. So today I wanted to go over the new uniques being added to the game with Season 4. I want to apologize in advance if it's somewhat hard to read the text. I zoomed in and I tried to clean it up as much as possible. It's going to be a full list of all the uniques. You can find these in the PTR. I've only been lucky enough to find a couple. I'm going to briefly go over the uniques. Here's the general uniques. These uniques can be used with any class. Yen's Blessing. Casting a skill has up to 30% chance to cast a non-mobility, non-ultimate skill that is currently on cooldown. I feel like Yen's Blessing is going to actually be more useful than Tyrell's Might. While at full life, her skills unleash a Divine Barrage, dealing extra damage. Depending on how this works, it might be useful in AoE builds. It does give you a lot of resist and damage reduction. I just don't know how these are going to fit in with other uniques such as Shaco and T-Balt's Will. I think the best thing about Tyrell's Might is the level requirement. You only need to be level 35 to use it. If you find it early on, it might be one of the best uniques for leveling. For the Barbarian uniques, there's a Reed's Bearing and Twin Strikes. I don't see many uses for the pants just because T-Balt's Will is superior. But on the other hand, Twin Strikes might be really useful, especially if you want to play a double swing build. It gives you plus skills, damage, attack speed, and after casting double swing 4 times, your next double swing will hit 2 additional times, each dealing up to 25% increased damage. For the Druid uniques, we have Earthbreaker and Wildheart. I feel like Druids got really lucky with these uniques. Earthbreaker is going to enhance Trample Slide builds, and Wildheart might be a little bit more specific, since you're going to need a build that switches back and forth between forms consistently to build up the increased damage. For the Necromancer uniques, we have Truer's Embrace and Ebon Piercer. I'll be honest, I haven't played a Necro since beta, so I'm not too familiar with the gameplay, but these uniques seem to have a lot of potential. At least they're better than the Barbarian uniques. For the next class, we have the Rogue, and they might have got the best uniques this season. Rapid Fire is already a very strong spell, and now it's going to get even stronger. Then there's builds that combine Rapid Fire and Flurry, and the other unique buffs Flurry. Casting Flurry has a 30% chance to release stun grenades that deal physical damage and stun enemies around you. I think Rapid Fire and Flurry is going to make a comeback for Season 4. And for the Sorcerer uniques, it looks like they're trying to make Frozen Orb actually useful, maybe even a meta build. I was actually using Frozen Orb for a bit in the PTR, it's a lot stronger. Casting Frozen Orb has a 50% chance to spawn a random conjuration when it explodes, and your conjurations have up to 100% chance to launch a Frozen Orb. I wish I found this so I could test it out, but it seems like there's going to be Frozen Orb covering the screen and doing insane amounts of damage. And Flame Weaver, I still haven't played a fire build. I focused on cold and lightning first. Maybe play some fire builds this season. Casting Firebolt through your firewall causes it to split into 4 bolts, each dealing up to 30% more damage, and it gives you plus ranks to Devouring Blaze. So potentially you could have Devouring Blaze skill ranks from your amulet, your gloves, Shaco. I see this being a very useful unique as well, especially for burning damage build. In my opinion, I feel like all these uniques are going to be really good. Maybe not so much the Barb uniques, but we won't know until we see what actually happens in Season 4. Here's an incomplete list of the temper manuals. I'm going to mainly go over the ones that affect skills and the manuals that I feel like might have the most potential. These are going to allow for a lot more build utility and customization. You could choose how you want to play your character. There's always going to be the meta builds that are at the top, but this is going to open up more builds and playstyles. The temper manuals that I'm most excited for are the ones that have a chance to cast your spell twice, and the ones that increase the size or duration of the spells. Honestly, the one that intrigues me the most about Druids right now is the Hurricane size one. Potentially, you can make a Hurricane build that just AFK and auto kill stuff if you walk through them. I've already tested it out, and the Hurricane covers up about half the screen. Then on top of that, there's other manuals like the Storm Finesse manual that increase the damage of Hurricane. You're not going to use it on your weapons if you're increasing the size because you need to use the other manual there. But then if you end up using it on gloves, your rings, and amulet, it's almost 800% increased Hurricane damage. So you see the possibilities of what you can do with these new manuals. I haven't been lucky enough to find a Dolmen Stone yet, but if you increase the Hurricane size and if you're using a boulder build, does the boulder spin around the outside of it or does it stay in the same position? Then as you look at these manuals, you'll see the usual meta builds that have been around since the beginning of the game are getting buffed, but then they're buffing other things as well. So we're gonna have more unique builds this season. You can see by going over these that Lightning Storm, Boulder, Shred, most common builds are getting buffed, and they're buffing a lot of other things as well. For the Necro, like I said, I haven't really played it much. Probably should play one soon. But here's all the Necromancer temper manuals. But the point went out. Corpse Tendrils damage up to 300% increase, and like the Druid, you're not going to use it on the weapons because you're going to modify it with a different manual. But 300% potentially on 4 pieces of gear equals up to 1200% more Corpse Tendril damage. There's a lot of changes coming, and I feel like this season is going to be really fun, probably the best season that we've had. And then for the Sorcerer temper manuals, we have Deep Freeze cooldown reduction, Unstable Currents cooldown reduction, Ice Spike damage, Blizzard damage, damage based on your build, up to 200% teleport damage. And we have Blizzard size, which that's a pretty big one right there. Blizzard was arguably the best build of season 3 because it could do all game content. And chance for projectiles to cast twice for Spark, Chain Lightning, Charge Bolts, Ball Lightning. Then 50% increased teleport size. Chance for Firebolt and Fireball projectiles to cast twice. Incinerate size, Meteor size, Firewall size. I wanted to briefly just go over these and share these with you guys if you haven't seen them yet. I'll have the links in the description for both the uniques and all the temper manuals. I don't want to overplay the PTR. I don't want to burn out. I did do some testing and I'm excited for season 4. In my opinion, it's going to be the best state of the game. I'm hoping this is just a fraction of the temper manuals that we get. I want more customization in the game. There needs to be if it wants to compete with other games, and you should be able to effectively build your character however you want to. Anyways, let me know in the comments what you guys are most excited for, or what theory crafting that you have thought of, what you're going to try out first. And always, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate the support, and I'll see you next time.